This week on Previews World Weekly, we give you a sneak peek at what to expect from Doctor Who Day this weekend. We look through your positive interactions with creators, and case of the people versus Baby Yoda is now in session, right now on Previews World Weekly.
What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
What's going on, Ashton? What's up with you?
Not much. I'm here with the hottest takes this week. I'm not sure how that's different from other weeks, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can take any more of your hot takes, Ashton. You might need to holster some after some of the drama you created on Free Comic Book Day. I guess technically I created that drama, but it's based off of things you said. So
I'm shocked that you even admitted to that. Like,
because I knew you were going to call me out on it. So I already felt that. How dare you coming my way?
You know me too well. You really tried to frame me for that.
I mean, did I frame you? Those were like, well, look, we'll get into it later. We're going to talk about this later. It's Baby Yoda adjacent. Anyway, what's up, guys? I want to remind you to like, follow, and subscribe Previews World Weekly so you can get the type of scintillating commentary like we have going on right now, right? This is part of the show where, if you haven't seen us before, where we talk about things we saw this past week. I'm going to kick things off because I thought this was really cool. I actually caught this at the last minute. We usually have our meetings on Tuesday to talk about the show, and I'm surprised no one caught this. And then my girlfriend, who's like doesn't even care about any of this stuff, jumped in there and was like, "Hey, did you see this?" So Baby Yoda's on the SpaceX mission that's currently, like, I guess, floating somewhere in orbit, or Did you know about this? I don't know if he even talked to you about this.
No, I had no clue about this, but I love everything about it.
So the SpaceX Dragon, that's what the actual shuttle is called, launched on November 15th, so only 3 days ago, and it's heading to the International Space Station, right? Part of the tradition is they take a toy with them. And so when I say part of a tradition, I mean part of a tradition as of this year, because this is when all the SpaceX launches officially started to happen, right? But yeah, part of that tradition, right, is they take a toy, and they've done a dinosaur toy before, and they've done one other thing I can't remember right now. But this time on the Dragon, they took Baby Yoda, which I thought was actually pretty funny. Actually, pretty ironic considering that Crate Dragon episode of Mandalorian. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and just wanted to kind of point that out. And I actually wonder what we have to deal with vendors all the time, right? I'm curious what vendor that toy is from. But it's not a Funko. I don't think it's a Funko Pop because it's a plush. Although Funko does plushes though, so I don't know.
Yeah, but also like Hasbro made a bunch of Baby Yoda stuff.
Yes, they did. As a matter of fact, Johnny put me on to the fact that I guess there's like an egg-eating Baby Yoda toy that's making the rounds right now. I'm like, how did they do this so quickly? There it is. Yeah.
Why?
I'm like, wow.
My thought here is like, Funko, someone needs to stop Funko. Like,
they are a bit out of control. I mean, there's literally a Funko for every person, every occasion. Like, there's a Funko for it, and like, yeah, I couldn't believe that when I saw it. I was like, the episode came out 2 weeks ago. Like,
right?
How did they? I mean, I guess maybe Disney gave them a heads up or something, but at the same time, it's like, wow, we're gonna have a Baby Yoda for every type of Baby Yoda for every type of episode of The Mandalorian for the next 5 years. I'm just convinced at this point. But what did you see this week, Ashton? What was cool? This is going to be a very Star Wars heavy show. I'm just letting you guys know.
I was telling Johnny this before. It's kind of like the time of the year. Like, Star Wars, Lucasfilm have kind of like cornered the end of the year as like their piece of real estate.
Yeah,
can't do much about it. I saw this dope artist rendering of Ahsoka Tano. Like, if she were to be a person, I mean, I guess she will be in a few weeks from now, but like a guess at what she would look like as an adult, because the last time you see her, she's, a like young adult, I guess we would say. I don't know what, how her particular species would age, but like, I'm super into this. One of my favorite characters from the prequels was actually Shakti. Like, I have a weird obsession with like Shakti and also Plo Koon for no reason at all. And like, Shakti was like a good sized version of whatever her species is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. So I'm happy to see that Ahsoka is also kind of like beefy. And speaking of beefy, the other side of this Instagram post
right, yeah, okay,
was Darth Maul, which like obviously we have already seen him as a person, but like this is like the most jacked version of Darth Maul. And truthfully, the thing I'm into most here is like seeing his skin, paint, tattoos, whatever it is, go all the way down his body. So I thought it was really
okay.
cool.
Calm down. All right, relax, Ashton. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Actually, well, you know what? I guess he would be jacked in the upper body since like the bottom half has been completely chopped off, right? I mean, that's actual continuity, right? I mean, I'm not making that up.
No,
And he
you're
did
accurate.
and he did come back with spider legs. So yeah, I'm thinking he's just like been like, working on the upper body, working on like, the chest muscles, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Sure. Why not? Actually, I do like how that's full Rosario there and that rendering. What we got here? Jody Marie Alexander, the SpaceX media promoted it, and I caught news a couple of days ago. It's actually pretty cool, right? I actually thought that was actually kind of neat. What do we got here? Ubaldo, Funko is dying my wallet. I think he means killing my wallet, but I actually kind of like
that says drying.
Oh, drying my wallet. Okay, all right. I actually kind of like dyeing my wallet more. I'm gonna just start saying that. Whatever. Okay, so actually, I got one more thing because normally we just kind of do two and then we move on. But I saw this. I don't know if you'll get this joke, Ashton. Actually, you might get this joke, but I thought it was pretty hilarious. There's this meme floating around that I saw this past week of Mark Hamill. Have you seen this at all? I've seen it in other memes, but but it was the first time I've seen this meme like applied to something that I actually got what the joke was really. So it's like Nightwing in the 80s be like, I'm not a Robin anymore, take me seriously. Now okay, there's two parts to this, right? One, okay, it's hilarious because of course Dick Grayson broke off from Batman, got into the Teen Titans, then he completely changed out his costume. His name became Nightwing, right? So it's kind of funny, right? But I want to know what situation, what scenario, what kind of maybe cocaine-induced like moment happened that Mark Hamill had to wear this.
He looks like weirdly okay with it too.
Yes. No, he looks like he's having a great time.
Right.
And I'm like, is this like some Studio 54 photo shoot? Like, I'm not even sure.
I hope so. I can only hope that it is related to Studio 54.
It's got disco written all over it, whatever.
Right.
It's like it's firmly like very early 80s or late 70s, one of the two. So we'll see what that. It's like there's some Bee Gees music playing in the background of that photo shoot for sure. Anyway, let's do what's at comic shops. Let's talk a little bit about what's hitting your local comic shop this week. Here you go, guys. We're going to give you our picks, and then we're going to show you some of the big ticket items that are dropping at your local comic shop. I already said this today. All right. So, Ashton, what are you looking forward to this week that you're going to pick up from your local comic shop?
So I'm excited for Children of the Grave #1. Good starting point, obviously, with it being a #1. If you're into like sci-fi, utopia, dystopia, indie comics, any of those, this will be right up your alley. It's from Scout Comics. It's written by Sam Romsberg and Ben Roberts with art from Gioli Filippo. Sorry if I said your name wrong. So basically, this takes place it's a future utopia, air quotes around the word utopia. Earth is basically reset following a fallout, and it's now referred to as Terra. And the populace of this planet lives in complete blissful ignorance of the entire history of mankind and everything that has plagued them, from like social injustices to like medical issues to political issues. It's all completely wiped away. No one has any recollection of it, and they're all provided for by this mysterious, albeit unquestioned, provider. And so it's great, right? It's a utopia. There's no hardship, no one's suffering. It's a good time. We're all having fun, but like we're probably not.
You're right.
So it's going to center on Daniel, who's kind of determined to find the truth. I'm imagining this is him on the cover. Determined to find the truth about like what is this utopia. And I was drawn to this because everything about this synopsis scares me. Like utopias scare me because they're not real, and anytime someone writes about a utopia, it ends up being awful. And there's like a quote from Winston Churchill I love that says, "A nation that forgets its past has no future." And that is like sitting at the center of this. Like, it's so dangerous to deal in like forgetfulness and revisionist history. And that scares me. But I think that's what's going to make this so compelling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, actually, that actually is a cool concept. Watch out, Daniel. You might dig up something you don't want to know about. But yeah, I got like actually, it's funny. Like a few days ago, I was talking to a friend of mine about how we're kind of already in this like, with like fiction sold us on like a cyberpunk dystopia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the past, like you think of Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's interesting because I think up until maybe I'll say the last 4 or 5 years, right? We were under the impression that we were going towards a utopia, right? And that we could kind of run parallel with technology. And so we were maybe in this cyberpunk utopia, right? And I think we're now at a point where we're starting to realize, no, this is kind of like its own technological hell.
Yeah.
or maybe I'm projecting. Maybe that's just me, but I'm just saying. But yeah, that's interesting. I'm actually very curious about that stuff. That actually caught my eye today when I was going through things to pick up this week, and I saw that, and I was like, actually, that's kind of interesting. I want to check that out now. So you're not alone. I'm with you 100%. My pick this week is actually Marvel Voices, Indigenous Voices, #1. So Marvel's been doing a series of one-shots, focusing on the diverse range of characters that they have in the Marvel universe. So here's the thing, right? I'm a big fan, and I actually said this. I was on a podcast this past Friday, and I mentioned this as well. I'm a big fan of Marvel leaning into their history to kind of prop up and highlight how diverse their roster of characters are. Because here's the thing, right? Marvel, since the 60s up, right, was always kind of focused on, they pride themselves on being the world outside your window, right? That's a tagline they've been saying a lot lately. But there wasn't really a tagline for that. That's just how Marvel was. Like Marvel was very reflective of whatever was happening in contemporarily, like at that time, whether it be the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm a big fan of that. And I actually kind of always took issue with Marvel when Marvel would kind of shy away from that for whatever reason, probably because they were scared to be heavily criticized by Twitter, I would imagine. That's just my take. So the fact that they're doing these series of one-shots is actually really cool. And this one, of course, is focused on the indigenous characters. And I'm talking about characters that truthfully were popular when I was coming up, that kind of got lost in the shuffle, and some of them are making a comeback now. But I'm talking about Danny Moonstar. I'm talking about Warpath. I'm talking about Echo, who's like a big character in the early 2000s that just kind of vanished. But they're all there, and they're all free to for creators to latch onto and do something cool with them. And so, yeah, I'm just a big fan of this. We just saw that they're going to do a really cool one in February for Black History Month. I just encourage people to check this out, especially if you're of that camp that I am definitely not part of. It's like, oh, comics haven't progressed. Comics aren't progressive. Comics are back in the Stone Age. That's not true. I 100% don't agree with that. And I would actually argue that comics are more progressive than Hollywood, for example. You know what I mean?
I would as well.
Yeah. So, and I think they've been that way for a long time. They've always leaned into, and not just Marvel, but a lot of the other publishers too, have always leaned into this concept of, let's just be daring, and let's approach fiction with no glove, all the kid gloves off. Let's just embrace the different cultures and different backgrounds and play off of the different moral conflicts that come from those things. So yeah, definitely check that out. All right. Big ticket items this week. What do we got, Johnny? Throw it up on the screen. Let's get it going. All right. Venom #30. So Donny Cates is making his way, and Ryan Stegman, I have to point out, are making their way to the King in Black event, which is going to be popping up next month. So things are coming to a head, and Knull is real. Knull is here, and Knull is making everybody's life a living hell, especially if they've been attached to a symbiote. So if you're very, very excited for that, I know I am. You should definitely check that out. What else we got? The Walking Dead Deluxe #3. Look, they're recolorizing all the Walking Dead comics, which is kind of interesting, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. So definitely give this a look. If you are one of those people who have not been reading The Walking Dead because you're stupid and you don't like black and white, this is the time. This is the time that you can finally pick it up. All right, what else we got this week? Sea of Sorrows. This is cool, primarily because it's from the guy who did Wailing Blade, which was a very popular book, I want to say last year, kind of a breakout indie hit. Now he's approaching a new sci-fi series. So shout out to Richard Dweck, and definitely check this out. It's from IDW. Star Wars. I told you this is going to be a Star Wars episode, guys. Star Wars Adventures Annual 2020. Shout out to Jackson, who was like this weird character that was created for Star Wars back in the 80s during the Marvel Comics days. And no one really wanted to touch him after that because he was kind of like a cursed image for a while. But I think ironically, creators are leaning into this character now. So he's going to be making an appearance in the new IDW annual for Star Wars Adventures. What else we got? Something is killing the children. James Tinian is doing a great job. I would pronounce the artist's name because he's also doing a phenomenal job, but I cannot pronounce his name, so I'm just going to let that go. Definitely check this out, especially like horror. And also the main character is actually pretty cool. I love the design of that character. So again, shout out to the artist on that series. What else we got? What's in Future number 13? Karen Gillan, we're Dan Mora. A great creative team, especially if you like stuff of the sword and sorcery variety, if you like magic and whatnot. It's definitely a book to pick up. What else we got? Mars Attacks, Red Sonja number 4, which is a hilarious concept. Dynamite always crazy crossovers. They excel at crazy crossovers. I think they get a lot of mileage out of Red Sonja and Vampirella. And I think kind of the charm is those characters can kind of apply to anything if you just kind of like have fun with it. So they're definitely having fun with that here. All right, what else we got? Oh boy. All right. Mason Akikoku, right? Sure. No, that's probably not it. Look, it's from the creator of Rama Half. I don't know if you've ever seen Rama Half before, Ashton, but it's an anime and a manga about this kid who gets splashed with water and changes gender. I'm not sure if this book is going to be so gender defying, but it's definitely Rama has romantic elements, and I think this does too. Apologies to Rumiko Takahashi, but yes, check this book out from Viz Media. It's out this week. Look, Star Wars Bounty Hunter. So I didn't even realize this at the time.
Looks dope.
This looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
So Ethan Sachs, who did the Old Man Hawkeye book, which I absolutely loved, apparently he's doing a Star Wars Bounty Hunter book. I don't know why I didn't realize this before, but I'm going to check this out. And you know what, Ashton? This is how the pain starts, Ashton. I'm already bracing myself because it takes like one Star Wars thing to be good, and then I want all the Star Wars things. That has burned me before, and so what's happening is now I'm high on Mandalorian, right? And I'm high on my Death Sticks, right? And now I'm going to run off and probably read this Star Wars Bounty Hunter series from top to bottom because it's Ethan Sachs. Also, I love Star Wars Bounty Hunters in general.
I mean, the Star Wars comics though have been pretty well done lately, I would say.
Go ahead.
I think you'd be okay, and like I've said before, it's not in like the Skywalker area, so there's more room for it to breathe. I think you'd be safe. It's worth a try. Get like the treat and see how you feel about it.
Right. No, that's where I'm at too. Like I feel like I'm an adult enough to not take any slight by Star Wars seriously anymore. Like I think I've matured in the last couple of years, right? And I'm kind of like, I don't need to rage quit Star Wars. I just need to treat Star Wars like I would treat anything else. Like there's good stuff, there's bad stuff, and it's not personal, Troy. Just get over it. So there you go. More
people should probably function that way.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know what, Ashton? You're about to eat your words, aren't you?
Not gonna happen.
So
I said more people should function that way, not more people do function that way.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't know, Ashton. I'm gonna have to throw you in that category too, because last week you approached cancellation, Ashton. I don't know.
I'm fine with that.
I'm gonna be straight with you. I agree with you. Like I agree with you 100%. But I can't resist a good troll sometimes on Free Comic Book Day.
Okay, fair.
And as long as it's a nice, safe troll, I'm happy with it. I don't feel bad about myself for doing it. Right. But you made a comment about Baby Yoda last week, and you were telling people that they need to get over the whole supposed genocide, quote unquote, right? Which it was not, right? That he committed in the Mandalorian episode last week, the week before last. Yeah. So, Ashton, for your problematic comments, and because you went a bridge too far, I think you need to see some of the comments people made in response to your comments.
All right, fine. Shout out to Michael. He's a puppet, which he is.
So Michael Pegg, he agrees with you, right? Like he's a puppet, like let it go, right? And for those of you who don't understand the context here, sorry if I totally glossed over that. People are upset about Baby Yoda eating those eggs in like the Mandalorian episode second episode of the second season. They were claiming that he was committing genocide because the eggs belonged to this frog lady who like was transporting the rest of her bloodline safely along with the Mandalorian, blah, 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 right? Okay, back to the comments.
Billy says he's cute. Cute gets to do horrible stuff. Look at cats.
I think that's probably accurate, yes. Sure enough. Why is it not the writer's fault for making a joke that didn't quite land? I'm not offended by fake puppets eating fake eggs, but it just came across more cringy than funny. I thought it was actually pretty funny.
So did I.
And actually, I wouldn't say cringy. I would say it was suspenseful. Like, that's what I thought they were going for.
Because there was like a couple moments where it was like the frog lady like nearly almost catches Baby Yoda, and you're kind of like, oh, what's going to happen to him?
Right.
I don't know. I didn't think it was supposed to be a joke, or like if it was, I thought it was funny. Whatever.
Yeah. So you're not going to apologize, Ashton? Is that what's going on here?
No. What am I apologizing for?
I mean, both for, I don't know, upsetting the internet, Ashton. How about that? Or actually, more importantly, you're apologizing to someone in particular, one very particular someone. Ashton, it's time for you to kind of confront Baby Yoda himself.
I was on Baby Yoda's side.
I think that's true. Okay. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, I agree with you, Baby Yoda. I think Ashton should be canceled.
I should not be canceled. Baby Yoda deserved those eggs.
He deserved those eggs. Okay. Well, I guess Baby Yoda's over it now. Never mind.
I would like to apologize on behalf of you to me for being ridiculous.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. I don't think me being ridiculous is the most ridiculous thing about the segment. I think Johnny with the egg and the Baby
100%.
All right. Anyway.
Because it went on like a touch too long, which made it really funny.
Hey, that's the Family Guy rule, right? It's the Family Guy rule. We're just going to keep doing it until you start to laugh uncomfortably. And then, hey, a laugh. That's just how it works. Anyway, all right. So Doctor Who Day is actually this weekend. And I'm a bad Whovian. I don't know if you're a good Whovian or not, Ashton. I'm not Doctor Who adjacent at all. I probably should be.
I feel like offended someone at San Diego Comic-Con last year because she had like come over to the previews booth and like I gave her some comics, whatever, and we got to talking and I asked her like what her like favorite property was, and she said Doctor Who. And like went into this whole thing about it. And I was like listening nice. Like I love to listen to people talk about like whatever it is they're passionate about. I knew nothing though. And then she asked my opinion and I was like, and she was like, you don't know Doctor Who? And I was like, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, first of all, I think that's just a real thing in nerddom in general, right? But for those of you who are Whovians, who are good Whovians, and not like, just ignorant jerks like Ashton and myself, shout out to Johnny, who definitely loves Doctor Who, who's working behind the scenes. Doctor Who Day is actually this weekend, and Titan Comics is doing a big celebration, and they want you to get involved. So part of that celebration is actually Doctor Who #1, which is in comic shops today. So here's a trailer for Doctor Who #1, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about it. And like you saw at the end there, Doctor Who Day is actually this weekend. It's Saturday at your local comic shop and also a bunch of variety of other places, specialty shops in general. Of course, follow your country or your state or your city's like social distancing terms, right, to celebrate. But I also want to show you some of the guys. I also want to show you guys some of the covers that are available for Doctor Who #1. There's like several covers, and we got one by Peach Momoko, who's blowing up right now. It was like the most popular thing in comics right now. It seems like. And so, yeah, you get your choice. So definitely stop by your local comic shop today to pick up Doctor Who #1, and then head on over back to your comic shop on Saturday to see what they're doing to celebrate. Part of that celebration is actually a book called Time Lord Victorious, which came out, which is also by Jody Houser, who also wrote the Doctor Who comics #1. And so that was part of a multimedia event that had a crossover in novel form and comic form. They did a thing on their website. They did a thing on the TV show. So like, yeah, this is all encompassing. Like, it's really like an experience for you Doctor Who fans and an excuse to get out the house if you can. So definitely check that out. All right. So let's move on here to social swamp time. So I'm going to fork it over to Ashton, and she's going to take over, and she's going to hopefully not say anything incendiary. Actually, I kind of hope she does.
Don't hold your breath.
Social swamp time.
Okay, so my superpower is finding a way to accidentally offend people, if you haven't found that out yet. We asked you guys, this was a little more calm. We've been a little crazy with the social swamps lately, so we're just gonna have a nice discussion. We asked you guys to share your positive experiences that you've had with a comic creator, be it online or in person, and just share your story with us. We want to hear, so let's dive into some of those comments. Dariel said, I remember the time I met Sergio. Oh, I'm going to mess up his last name.
Argones.
Okay.
I think he might have spelled it wrong, but yeah, Argones.
Okay. Briefly at a small convention in Sacramento, I got to thank him in person for all the joy, not just the laughter, but the joy of reading Mad all those years. He seemed like a really nice guy, and I enjoyed reading a comic he wrote describing some of his life and his adventures while working at Mad.
Nice.
Sean Southwick says, I first met Christos Gage when he did a signing at my local comic book store. Turns out he's a local guy. He answered my questions and it led to a friendly conversation. He signed 3 books for me and posed for a picture. Great experience with a stand-up guy. Mag Matt said, once posted a picture of some old graphic novels he just picked up. Oh, wow. I totally read over the tag. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. Wow. Nailed it. Gene Ha Comics once posted a pic of some old graphic novels he just picked up. I commented how one of them I'd been looking for and couldn't find. He asked for my info and sent it to me.
That's cool.
8341 Joseph said, I met Christopher Priest at Rhode Island Comic Con last year. He was just really nice, really pleasant, willing to take the time to talk about his books. A very nice guy.
All right. Cool. Sorry, I'm over here typing to Johnny.
That's okay. I actively struggled through that entire social swamp, so you're welcome.
That's all right. So there's definitely a reason why I asked about positive interactions with creators, right? Because it seems like not a week can go by with some sort of comics drama, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lean into it too much, but there was like a bit of a, not even a dust up. It was like a call and response. Like Tom King said one thing, and then Tom Brevoort said another, and it was interesting. To say the least. But it was also, it was a little, I don't know. The whole thing just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth in general. So I was kind of like, all right, everybody's talking about this thing. Let's talk about our positive interactions with creators. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Ashton. Have you ever had a positive interaction with a creator at all?
Definitely. Okay, I actually have 2 here because I couldn't settle on one, so I'm going to go with both. The first one is with Alice Oseman, and this is like the most recent one. I did an interview with her a couple weeks back talking to her about her graphic novels, Heartstopper. She was the sweetest human. Like, she was so kind, so excited to talk to us. Like, I remember I had signed on to do the interview and I was like super nervous. Like, my hands are sweating like crazy. I was like, I love this thing you created. Like, I'm sorry if I'm weird. I think I told her like 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I'm sorry if I'm being weird. Like, I probably am, but like, I love this thing. And she's like, no, it's great. Like, I'm happy that you love it that much. Like, anything you want to talk about, like, say it. She was so sweet answered like nearly every fan question we got for that interview, and we got like the most questions of like nearly any interview we've done. So she was incredibly kind. I recommend you follow her on social media too. She's cute on social media, and read her books. And then the other one is Mark Waid. I know he bothers some people. I'm sorry if he bothers you. I had ambushed him at the Diamond Retailer Summit a couple years back in Vegas. And was like, I just need to talk to you about Archie. I came in so hot. Like,
actually, no, I think I witnessed this actually. Yeah, right. Okay.
I was so ridiculous about it. I was like, I need to tell you how much I love this thing. And I was like, yeah, I went into this, like, I pinpointed like a specific like part of one of the story arcs. I was like, I loved like this particular panel. And he was like, you know, I really wanted it to feel realistic, and I wanted young people to feel like this is something they would go through. And he was happy to like really talk through like why he made the decisions he did for the dialogue in that like part of the panel, which was super cool because I know I was being crazy.
I mean, you know, I think they're also kind of, I mean, look, I think You're Crazy is probably not nearly as bad as like most, like, I wouldn't say most people, but like some of the crazy they likely will encounter as creators, right? Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to co-sign that Mark Waid statement. Like, I kind of just went over there, the same at the summit, over there to kind of like beg for an interview. And not only was he like, yeah, sure, of course. But then, like, I think we got into this conversation about Avengers Endgame. And it turned into us both fanboying about the Avengers movie.
Oh,
like
that
was the entire exchange. And like you know, we went through with our interview on top of that. I was sitting here and I thought of like one other thing that also kind of I think surprises people a lot is Garth Ennis. Like given the nature of the type of stuff Garth Ennis writes about, right? He does like a lot of like fairly grim, gritty, like, you know,
psychological.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like a lot of like dark stuff, right? I mean, this guy gave us The Boys, gave us Preacher. He's been consistently writing Punisher for years. And so I think one thing I've always heard, and I actually experienced this myself, was people are always surprised how nice he is in real life. And I think something can be said for that. For him, I guess, kind of like getting all that stuff out on paper so that he's a decent human being in real life. If that makes any sense. Like
I actually think that makes perfect sense. Like you're laughing about it, but it's like he probably feels a lot lighter than most of us do just because of that.
Right. He has an outlet for it, right? Like that's kind of like the old that was always the thing Eminem used to lean on, right? Like I write these things so that like I don't act on them. You know what I mean? And I always kind of thought there was something to that. I thought that's actually a valid point. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of get away from, you know, some of the that have been going on over the past week. I mean, like, look, we've seen a lot of stuff. There's stuff going on with layoffs and all this other stuff. And like, you know, it's like, let's just switch it up a little bit and have a fun conversation about positive things that have happened in the comics world. So there you go. What else we got this week? I think I forgot something actually.
We got a comment.
We do have a comment. What do we got a comment here? Cover lover comics. People fear what they do not understand. Interesting. Okay. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Path to the darkness. Duh. Lighten up and have fun, folks. Okay, he's talking about Baby Yoda. Okay, I was wondering. I thought he was talking about Garth Ennis for a second.
So did I. It kind of worked there too, though.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on there, but yes, I agree with you. Like people need to lighten up. Like it's I think we've talked about this before. Like people enjoying things but not internalizing the messages that those things are providing them. You know what I mean? Like, and I think Star Wars is rife with these messages, and you know, I say rife and that's of course a negative connotation, but like, and you know, but they're filled with these messages that are actually supposed to be like, hey, like lighten up. Like, you
literally
know, don't be so emo. Don't take this so seriously. Like, I mean, that's Yoda's whole brand, isn't it? I mean, really, isn't it? Like he's like throughout Empire, he's telling Luke, like, you know, focus, like don't like, you know, get distracted by all these goofy, like all this like nonsense that's happening around you, like, you know. And also he's very whimsical in like the way that he presents that to Luke, like he's trying to throw him off kilter. So you know, I don't know, it's just interesting to me, like how people internalize these messages sometimes. Anyway, all right, election results. No, not election results. Weekly poll check-in time, right? Sorry, I went back a couple of weeks later. Ashton, what is this week's poll?
Okay, this week's poll is inspired by Troy. So a couple weeks ago, I did Cthulhu versus someone. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I should have looked it up. But Troy was like, yo, it'd be cool if you did Cthulhu versus Knull because they're both cosmic gods and it's a more fair matchup than Cthulhu versus literally anyone else. So I was like, all right, let's do that. So threw it up on Free Comic Book Day on our Twitter page. Follow us at Free Comic Book Day. You can vote right now. I asked who would win in a showdown between Cthulhu and Knull, who is the symbiote god, cosmic entity, deity guy running amok in Donny Cates' Venom. This is not nearly as close as I thought it was going to be, and we'll figure out which way it's leaning in just a moment when Johnny votes. But how are you feeling about it, Troy?
I mean, I think I kind of get the impression like Cthulhu's like still he's got a lot of clout with nerds, right? So I'm kind of thinking, yeah, Cthulhu's probably going to go over. But I don't think I feel like Cates is kind of positioning Knull to be a Cthulhu-like figure in the Marvel universe. I mean, he took down Thor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this beef that Knull has isn't just with Venom and the symbiotes. Like, he is a cosmic threat on various levels. And he has history with Thor. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see where that where this poll goes. What do you say, Johnny?
Oh, hey everyone! What's up, everyone? Johnny and my little friend here, my little egg eater.
Because he's allowed to. It's fine. He only had a couple. Continue.
Yes. Hey, I don't hear anyone complaining about killing chickens.
There you go. Right.
Also, Troy sent me, as just a side note, Troy sent me a tweet or like a comment earlier that someone had said that was like, pretty sure the Crypt Dragon is endangered, and they had no problem murdering that, and no one felt any way about it.
Real quick, I have to go back because I went back and I rewatched that second episode from this season, and they say that then their line will end. That doesn't mean the entire species. It's just like their own family's own line. It's like like the House Targaryen or House Stark. It's like that's family's individual line. So it's like so he didn't kill a whole race of people or frog people. Right. So anyway, I am going to for this. I'm inclined to go to Cthulhu because Knull is still just the new guy in town. He's only been around for what, like a year or so in terms of like the story arc. Cthulhu just has like the history and like the backcraft. He's been around for years, since H.P. Lovecraft's story. So I have to go with Cthulhu on this one. And so did most other people. 68.9%.
All right. And you know what I'm be just to be petty, I'm gonna go back in there, retweet it on PREVIEWSworld and tag Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman.
Oh, nice.
Let's see what happens.
I mean, it's got 3 days left, so let's see if they'll swing the vote.
Let's do it. Actually, I'm gonna pull that up now so I don't forget. But yes, you guys can go to Twitter on Free Comic Book Day's Twitter and make this happen and vote on who you prefer, Cthulhu or Knull. All right, comic shop shout out time. Who is the comic shop shout out this week?
This week's comic shop shout out goes to a quasi-local person. It goes to Alternate Worlds Comics in Cockeysville, Maryland. It is from this guy whose username is there.
WLD3.
W_L_D3. Good for you.
Yeah. All right.
If you want to have your local comic shop shouted out on the show, find us on social media, tag your shop if they have a handle. And then also use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS. We will find your comment and we will shout your shop out because we love all comic shops and we want to give them all love.
All the love. And I can tell you personally, I know you can say the same. We've gone to Alternate Worlds. That was kind of my lunchtime stop when my books came in. I was like, I need to get this thing. Let me go down the street because it's near our offices. So there you go. Shout out to Alternate Worlds. Also, shout out. Oh, wait a minute, Richard.
Oh boy.
I tuned in late, but why is it called public apology? Because it's a non-apology, Richard. Ashton upset the internet, and now the internet's going to come at night and kidnap her.
Everyone is mad because everyone is upset that Baby Yoda's eating eggs, and he only had a few. But I think everyone needs to relax. I think you're being way too sensitive. It's only a couple eggs. I demand this level of outraged anger at Anakin killing children or them killing the Crypt Dragon or the beginning of Finding Nemo when they eat all the other eggs except for Nemo.
All right, you're going outside universe now. Ashton. You had me until you brought up Finding Nemo.
But it's like, okay, this fish eats all of the eggs that are going to be little tiny fishes, little tiny Nemos, except for the one, and no one cared at all because we had Nemo, which I guess makes it okay.
I mean, but that fish was clearly the bad guy. Nemo was clearly the hero. I think Yoda's in this murky area now for some people.
Well, that's the thing I'm not understanding. Like, and I'm sorry for like bringing it up again. Actually, I'm not. But like, why is this creating such a moral dilemma for people? Like, I'm really not understanding why people are like conflating Yoda being a literal toddler in his species and just like putting things in his mouth as any toddler would do, as a human toddler would do, with like, why is that equal to like a moral gray area or like bad behavior? I'm not understanding how those two things fit together.
I mean, I can only speculate, but I feel like I feel like because the previous year so much was spent like people giving oohs and ahs to Baby Yoda, that they feel some sort of betrayal. Unnecessarily, they feel some sort of betrayal by this. I'm assuming that's what that is. Like, we could get into that forever. Like, that has layers to it that I don't think I'm going to be able to cover on this show anytime soon. But yes, I get you. I'm with you 100%, and I'm gonna keep watching Mandalorian. And if he eats some more eggs, so be it. Whatever. Like, and someone pointed out he's ate frogs before on the show, so whatever.
Right. And he ate that spider. He ate that baby spider. No one cared. He ate like 3 of those baby spiders.
True. Hey, baby's gonna baby. What do you want? So okay, hey, this Friday, we're doing an X-Men Roundtable. I'm excited for this because this is something we haven't done before. I'm going to be bringing on 4 of my friends, right? 4 people that I actually know in real life. And they all have like different credentials. Like we have John Robinson, who is a podcaster. He runs a website called Comics Horizon. And he is also a comic book writer as well. We have Mystical Green Beanie, who is a YouTuber as well, and does some great videos. He actually did a really good one about Batman and the new X-Men recently. And Chris Powell, who's from the Three Black Geeks podcast. And my buddy Cy, who is known for nothing in the geek world, but he is an X-Men encyclopedia, and the level of detail and scrutiny that he comes with on the X-Men is impressive. So I'm actually looking forward to this. Hopefully it'll be just an hour.
Probably not.
Because I'm about to say this conversation has many tendrils, which is how Jonathan Hickman designed it. But we're going to be talking specifically about Dawn of X, House of X, Powers of X, Ten of Swords, all the X-Men stuff that has been Jonathan Hickman influenced in the last year. So definitely check that out. That's on Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. I hope I got that right this time. And that's it this week for Previews World Weekly. I'm gonna let you guys go. How about that? I've been one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
And hey guys, relax, calm down. The year's almost over. Let's look forward to what 2021 has to offer, and we will see you at the spinner rack. All right? Catch you later.
Don't forget that you can catch Previews World Weekly streaming live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific at Previews World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.